I made 3 custom outfits, and each outfit has 3 custom pieces, from hats to hoodies to backpacks. So if I'm doing my math right, that's 9 custom pieces, and today I'm going to show you how I made every single one of these and then style them creatively into 3 different outfits. Trust me, you don't want to miss that. First, let me tell you why the heck I'm even doing this in the first place. I have a clothing brand called Lockjaw, and for my last drop, I made 3 custom outfits with a bunch of different custom-made pieces. If you're a regular around here, you might recognize some of these pieces already, but don't worry, there's going to be loads of new content, so stick around, there's going to be something new for you. So let's take a look at how I made all the pieces for the first outfit. I wanted the first look to have a military theme, and so naturally, I made a backpack shaped like a gun for that outfit. I explained my inspiration a bit in my recent end-of-year rankings video. Basically, I wanted this look to have a military theme, and that reminded me of how some military personnel have their guns sling over their back, which then reminded me of my buddy who made a bag shaped like a guitar. Shout out Extra Medium, really crazy stuff. Anyways, I think you can see from that how I got the idea. As you can see, I made a pattern for all the pieces and then cut those out of fabric. This thing took forever to sew, and it was tricky to figure out around the trigger area and the pocket on the handle where I had to hand sew a bit, which I hate with a passion. I get a lot of comments on my baggy jeans videos asking if you can hand sew them, and I know some people have done that using my tutorials. Hats off to you, I am so impressed. I can never do that, I would get too frustrated and quit. Moral of the story, I hate hand sewing. However, once I finished sewing, something was wrong. The bag wouldn't hold its shape. And so I modeled and 3D printed an insert, which I then glued together inside the bag, and now it holds its shape great. Here's a sneak peek of the finished bag. And the next piece that I made for the first outfit is this armored shirt. Let me show you how I made that. For this project, I created a pattern again of all the pieces I would need. I basically took 2 white shirts and used one of them for fabric. I cut out all of my pieces from the one shirt and then cut the other shirt in half. I did this to add the armored paneled look. The whole idea behind this one was to create a shirt that looked like it was armored to play into the military theme. Actually, I learned how to sew by absolutely destroying some old shirts of mine that I had laying around and sewing them together in the most hideous ways possible. If you're learning to sew, that's a great place to start. Start messing around with something you don't care about before moving on to a project that you want to turn out well. Anyways, this thing was pretty easy to make, all things considered. The only hard part is making the pattern pieces and figuring out all of that. There's panels on the shoulders, abs, spine, and kidneys, along with a ridge along the chest area as a result of sewing the 2 halves of that one shirt together. Really happy with this one. Here's a sneak peek of how it turned out. And I was so happy with this one that I ended up making a black version of it, which I'm wearing right now. I know the details are kind of hard to see in this lighting. I think I might even like the black version better. Let me know in the comments down below which one's your favorite. And the last piece for the first outfit I'm also wearing right now, it's these dog tags. They're so cool. They got my brand's name Lockjaw on them, along with some other text relevant to the drop, like the day they released and stuff like that. Anyways, this is all just the tip of the iceberg. Let's move on to the next look. I wanted the second look to have a grunge avant-garde aesthetic, and I got my buddy Jake to model it, and he absolutely killed it, which you'll see at the end of the video. I think my favorite piece from this look is this distressed hoodie that I made. This project was really fun to do, but I was working on this one on and off for like 3 weeks. Basically, I started off with a blank black hoodie and then destroyed it completely. This is one of those pieces that makes your grandparents ask you if you're homeless. Anyways, I love using Dremels to destroy my clothes, and so once I was done that, I wanted to make this look more vintage, so I put it in a color removing dye, which was my first time doing anything like this. The water turned this weird yellow color, and I have a theory as to why. You know when you bleach black clothes, they often turn orange? Well, this color removing dye is slightly different than bleach, and so I think it removed that orange tint as well. Anyways, I had an issue. It removed too much color, and so before fixing that, I went ahead and sewed a long sleeve underneath to help it hold its structure and cover up those peekaboo holes. One of my friends pointed out to me how poorly I sewed this thing, but I said it all played into the distressed look. That was an easy cop-out. Anyways, I went ahead and threw the hoodie into a black dye to darken it up a little bit. I didn't leave it in there for long because I didn't want it to go too dark, and here's a sneak peek of how it turned out. The second item that I made for this outfit are these custom safety pin jeans. To be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fans of these things. Basically, I made these jeans a year and a half ago, and it was my first time using a Dremel on denim, but they were starting to fall apart, so I wanted to save them, and I decided to throw a bunch of safety pins into them to keep them together. I was inspired by this guy I saw in the mall who had made a design on his jeans using safety pins, like the pins resembled eagle wings or something. Anyways, this took a bit of time to do, so I did it wherever I had a chance, like at my buddy's house watching football. And here's how they turned out. And the last piece that I made for this outfit is this shoulder bag made out of an old long sleeve. This was from my thrift junk video, which was so fun to make. All the full-length videos for each piece are going to be linked below, by the way. If you're curious, go check those out after this video. I'll go more in depth on each piece in those videos. Anyways, for this one, I took a long sleeve and turned it into a bag. And the cool feature on this one is how the strap is the two sleeves tied together, kind of like you're hiking and don't want to wear your coat anymore. Anyways, in hindsight, I should have fused the pieces or added some kind of structural lining because the fabric is quite stretchy, but it was my first time making a bag, so I'll give myself a pass. I also put some safety pins on this sucker so it can match the jeans. Here's a sneak peek of how it looks. And those are all the custom pieces that I made for the second look, although I think I might have saved the best pieces for last. The last outfit that I made has an upcycled denim theme. This is because I had so much denim left over from my 10-in-1 jeans video that I didn't know what to do with. So the first piece that I made with these scraps is a hat. Spoiler alert, this was my favorite piece from this look, maybe even the whole collection. For this one, I took my scrap denim and cut it up with scissors, my Dremel, or just ripping it with my hands, all to make the pieces smaller and more manageable. Then I just started gluing them onto the base black hat with fabric glue. I started with the brim and then worked my way around. I decided to glue them on rather than sew because these pieces would be a pain in the neck to sew onto the 3D shape of a hat. No thank you, I will pass. I really like the way the waistband of the one scrap can be seen on the side here. Super cool. I also like the belt loops everywhere. All things considered, this thing was pretty easy to make, especially when compared to the last piece from this look. Here's a sneak peek of how it looks. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not quite sure which one, I still had a ton of denim left over, so I decided to make a tie. I used the same method as the hat for this one, thrifting a base tie to then glue my scraps onto. The glue worked well for the hat, so why not continue with that? The tie was a little funky owing to the fact that it was so thick, and as such, it was really tough for me to tie, especially with zero experience on how to tie a tie. Same as the hat, I tried to use the coolest pieces of scrap denim that I could find to add the most texture and intrigue to this thing, like the zipper and button on the front, or these different frayed edges all around. This one was pretty easy to make, especially because it was just glue. Anyways, here's a sneak peek of how it turned out. And believe it or not, I still had more scraps, so I ended up using those to make myself a bag for this outfit as well. This was the most time-consuming piece out of these three. I started by cutting out the outline for the panels out of muslin, which is a really low-grade cotton that's used to make sample garments in the fashion industry. I then started to cover them up with scraps, with glue of course. I like how there's no visible stitch marks because I glued everything on. There were some really cool pieces I used on here, like the zipper from one pair of jeans, and then the waistband pieces all around the top of each panel. I made the front and back panels, the strap, and then this other panel to connect the two. However, I couldn't avoid my sewing machine forever. It was time to sew these suckers in place, but I had a problem. There were so many layers of denim and the seams were so thick, and I was an idiot too, and I thought I could get away with not using denim needles. I didn't get away with that. I think I broke 3, but whatever. I sewed the pieces together and you can see the form of this thing come to life. Here's a sneak peek of how it turned out. And so those are the pieces that I made for the third and final outfit. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that these pieces were all for my clothing brand's latest drop. It's for each drop that I do, I always make a conceptual video to showcase all the outfits. And so I'm gonna let that play. Here's all 3 outfits that I made.
Watcher 003.